This YCN segment is brought to you by M.J. Harrington and Company, jewelers and designers since 1948.
Welcome back. YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Brett Franklin from ESPN Radio for the Upper Valley, 94.5 FM. You can check out the website, 945ESPN.com. And always listen to Brett on his midday show, 12 to 1, Franklin and House. Sometimes House is there, but Brett Franklin is always there.
I hold my own.
You do. And, Brett, we talked about this a little bit as we turn the page. We're into late January now. Pitchers and catchers reporting. The offseason has been somewhat quiet. I mean, there's been some moves. There's still some moves to be made. But overall, this seems like a very different offseason, just in general, not just Red Sox.
Yeah, very quiet on the free agent front, and it's really being driven by one super agent, Scott Boras. He's got a lot of clients out and about on the free agent front, and one of which, J.D. Martinez, a guy that the Red Sox are trying to sign. But I just think right now this is a market, Jeremy, where teams are being very cautious. They're not willing to throw out the amount of years that some guys are expecting here. Yeah, it is kind of a relatively weak free agent class, but I don't think the Red Sox can afford to look at it that way. They've got to go out and they've got to make a signing because your arch nemesis, the New York Yankees, has gotten infinitely better, and I don't think they're done yet. But, yeah, this is a whole Major League Baseball trend. Not a lot of guys, moving around, not a lot of action happening. I think we could be in a situation where we could see guys leak deep into spring training before they agree to sign with the team.
Right, and I think there's a couple factors that are causing this. One, the luxury tax. It's not a salary cap. You can go above it. But a lot of these teams want to get below that number, and it's a progressive tax. So after you've gone over 2 or 3 years in a row, you get hit really hard. So I think some of these teams are treating it as a hard cap, and they want to get below that number. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is these guys don't want to spend 6 or 7 years on a guy who's maybe in his early 30s, and by the back end of that contract, it's not going to be worth it.
And I would wholeheartedly agree. I mean, I don't think J.D. Martinez is anywhere close to worth the 6-7 years that he wants. He's 31 years old. You can tell me he's going to produce at that level late in his career. Now, I understand it. In baseball, you've got to overpay to get these guys.
For the upfront years.
But I think if you're a Red Sox fan or if you're even a Yankees fan, I mean, and if you're an executive with these teams, I mean, how many times can you overpay these guys? You know, you look at Jacoby Ellsbury for the Yankees. That's just dead weight on this roster. You look at the Red Sox, and they've had their share of guys who have just been contract eaters year in and year out. So I think teams are starting to become smart. And now with several years, I think it's been easily over a decade now with the luxury tax. Yeah, it's starting to pinch teams, and I think that's good for the sport. And the biggest thing next year is when guys like Bryce Harper's up, who's going to bite the bullet and be willing to give him 10 years, $100 million, whatever it's going to be,
right,
for $30 million, whatever it's going to end up being. I think some teams are going to be pretty hesitant about that.
Well, and that's the other big reason, because I think teams are kind of looking at their dollars and trying to save for next year's free agent class. I mean, we're out of those times where it's unlimited dollars and we're just going to give these contracts. So at this point in time, are the Red Sox a long shot to sign J.D. Martinez, both because of the contract demands and the fact that they still really don't have a position for him if they're going to do anything.
No, this just seems like a move to counter the Yankees move. Like the Red Sox, if I'm Dave Nebraska, we have to make a move because the Yankees have made a move, and that's not how you want to build your business. But I mean, if the Red Sox come in opening day and they have not made a significant roster addition, how are you going to sell that to the fan base? Because right now the Red Sox, I think, are the 5th best team in the American League right now. And that right now, and if you're the 5th best, you're not in the playoffs.
Right.
So I think they got to make a move here.
And that's what I was going to ask you. As constructed, I mean, you'll be on the show again before the season starts. We get into spring training. But as constructed right now, what is the ceiling of this team? I mean, it looks like they're probably behind the Yankees, as you mentioned, the 5th best team. Maybe they sneak in as a wild card, but
yeah, they're wild card.
You can't expect them to win a series.
They're a wild card at best. They've got Chris Sale, which I think he'll be another dominant pitcher this year, but they burned him out last year because they didn't have the depth as the starting rotation. So they've got a lot of questions on this Red Sox team, and I don't know if it's going to be all answered by the time pitchers and catchers report.
And that's going to be only a short time away.
February 14th.
Right, so just about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks until pitchers and catchers report, and still a lot to be decided. both in Major League Baseball and on the Red Sox and in that organization. So we'll see what they do in the coming weeks. We'll take our final break. When we come back, we'll get to our Salt Hill Pub picks of the week. We're going to do something a little different, name our top 5 or rank the top 5 Patriots Super Bowl appearances on the board next. We'll take a break. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.